William Adrogo had a history of mental illness that caused delusions that made him snap into violent episodes. In February 1954, he invited his family to a banquet at his house, celebrating an indigenous festival for the Alur tribe. In his twisted mind, he believed that they had put witchcraft on his marriage, so after the celebration was over, he silently killed all 22 of his guests with a machete. He escaped on a boat and the authorities couldn't track him down. William ended up in northern Uganda, giving authorities a false name and quickly fitting in because he could understand the dialect of the locals. The police force in Tanganyika was unaware of his previous crimes and hired him as a constable. A few months later, for seemingly no reason, he upped the ante, and this would become one of the deadliest crimes of the 20th century. Welcome to History's Biggest Villains. There's no official birth date for William Adrogo, but he was born in Okoro County in the West Nile district of Uganda. He was part of the Alur kingdom, a community who had an agreement with Belgian authorities that allowed them some autonomy, even including some self-regulated border crossings through other kingdoms. By February 1954, William and his second wife had failed to bear a child, something that made him pretty upset. People described him as having symptoms of neurasthenia, a broad and obsolete medical term that is mostly known now as stress-induced anxiety. For some reason, he believed that his family were witches and had put a hex on the couple to cause infertility. With this on his mind, he invited 22 of his family members to his home in Ngala village for an indigenous festival. Once the celebration was done, 20 other relatives went to sleep while 2 children went outside to play. William then grabbed a machete and silently murdered all of them before setting the house on fire. He waited for the remaining children to return before killing them both as well. After committing 22 murders in less than 2 hours, William was able to get a boat at Lake Albert and flee to his native Uganda. Even with an extensive search and numerous inquiries by Congo authorities to the Ugandan administration, no one was brought to justice for this mass killing, as the event sent shockwaves through both the native and the colonial population. A few months later, William found himself in the Tanganyika territory. The fugitive gave a false name of William Unek and claimed to be a Koli, another ethnic group native to northern Uganda. At the time, most of the law enforcement officers in the area were Luo people, a group whose 12 different languages were mutually intelligible, including for those of the Alur and Akoli people, so William could easily assimilate with the locals and blend in. In 1956, he joined the local police force, as a background check didn't pick up that he was a wanted fugitive. In August, he was stationed at Lake Province, living and working at Malampaka. He shared a home with his concubine Angelina, located behind the police post. On the night of February 11, 1957, William decided to go on another mass killing spree. Just after midnight, he went to work at the post, and he asked 2 superior officers, Sergeant Clement and Corporal Opayo, to accompany him into town. He wanted their help in the arrest of a man he said had several diamonds. The 3 officers walked out in a single file line with Clement in the front and William in the back. A few minutes later, William hit Opayo in the back of the head with an axe, causing him to black out for 15 minutes. When he woke up, William and Clement were gone. He rushed back to the post to get more officers to help look for the sergeant. When they got close to the Central Line railway station, the sound of several gunshots pierced the air. The officers found 2 dead men, whom they identified as the native assistant station master and a laborer. Clement's body was later found in a hedge roughly a quarter mile from the police post, as he bore signs of being killed with the same axe used to attack Opayo. After William killed Clement, he ran to the police armory, using the bloody axe to break the door open. He then threw the axe on the ground and stole 6 rifles, along with 50 rounds of .303 ammunition. William then broke into Sergeant Clement's home behind the armory, specifically looking for his son, whom he found and shot. The boy later died despite extensive first aid. William then burned down the neighboring hut to his own house, killing 2 women and a child in the blaze. He then went to Opayo's house, shooting and killing his wife and all 3 of his children. Shortly after 8 a.m., 3 more gunshots rang out at the Malia Road, and 3 more people lay dead. According to a witness at the scene, after William entered town, he seemed to just shoot anyone that crossed his path. Investigators assumed that William snuck up on most of his victims, as the majority of them had been shot at close range. He shot random people outside and some employees of the local business, reportedly burning down a second hut. He then changed out of his police uniform into clothes stolen from one of his victims and fled, still carrying the rifle and food he had stolen from the village. All the killings took place over the course of less than 12 hours. Immediate reports counted 9 dead and 9 wounded at the scene. The same afternoon, the motorized sections of the Mwanza police started to search for William in the area near Malya. The death toll rose to 16 the following day, with unconfirmed reports of 32 injured. On February 12th, William strangled a 15-year-old girl, and on the 14th and 15th, he burglarized several isolated homes surrounding Malampaka. Police surmised that he ambushed the occupants, stealing their clothes and food before setting their buildings on fire and fleeing again. 4 people were killed by gunshots or machete attacks, bringing the final death toll to 36. According to William's later testimony, he had a one-sided beef with Sergeant Clement, whom he accused of having an affair with Angela, a rumor that couldn't be proven. He later said that he killed the other victims because they were spying on him. William was still on the loose, hiding out in the bush and swamp areas of Maswa, Kashapu, and Kawimba. Over 3,000 Wazakuma tribesmen and 200 police officers joined in on the search for him. A spider plane was deployed, followed by police reinforcements from Tabora. The next day, military aid was invoked, and the King's African Rifles Company with more than 100 soldiers were brought in as well, making the search for William the biggest manhunt in the region at the time. By February 18th, over 4,000 people made up the search force, as British authorities posted an £125 reward, even sending additional jeeps and aircraft. There were several sightings of the suspect over the past few days, as he apparently slept on large rock formations while on the run. The latest lead that the police had was a footprint of rubber boots that William wore. The whole community was on edge, as pastoralists and farmers kept their work indoors, while the natives barred their homes and cattle pens, only traveling when armed with spears and bows. On February 18, 1957, William went to the home of 45-year-old Ayumbu Akambu, who lived only 2 miles outside of Malumpaka. He requested food, and as Ayumbu went inside, he notified the police, and they told him to keep William at the house should he return. He actually did return at 1 a.m., still holding the rifle. Ayumbu sent out his wife to get a chicken, but in reality, she was alerting the local tribal headman. Ayumbu was able to keep William distracted by talking to him for 2 hours until the police arrived. By 2 a.m., the house was surrounded by a force led by Superintendent A.J. Press, while also being accompanied by Assistant Superintendents J.G. Frazier and Alec Colbert. Ayumbu was able to run out of the house, leaving William barricaded in by himself. The Mwanza police repeatedly told him to surrender or they would bomb the building. After no response was heard, Superintendent Press threw a tear gas bomb at the doorway and it bounced off the building and detonated. He then walked up to the door and slid another smoke bomb through an opening between the roof and the wall. The second bomb caused the house to catch fire, eventually flushing William out. Multiple officers ordered him to stop, but when he didn't oblige, he was shot once in the abdomen by Colbert. During questioning, William told Officer Frazier how he was motivated by his concubine's alleged infidelity, also gesturing at his ear to signify that he wanted to be shot in the head. The day of his capture, after being charged with murder and ordered to 2 weeks of remand, William underwent further treatment and later emergency surgery at Mwanza Hospital. Although his state was described as not badly wounded, William's health deteriorated as he recovered from the procedure, and he ultimately died of his injuries in the afternoon hours of February 20th. Iyumbu's house was destroyed in a fire, but he received the government reward of £125 in March 1957. In October, he was given the British Empire Medal by Governor Edward Twining for his bravery leading to William's capture. Superintendent Press was also praised for acting in utter disregard for his own life by putting the explosive that flushed out the suspect. In total, William killed 58 people and injured 32. The 36 victims in Malampaka were the most in one single event in recorded history until Woonbong Khan, ironically a South Korean police officer, killed 56 people in one night in 1982. In response to the murders, a fund was created to aid relatives of the victims. In 1959, a publicly funded maternity clinic was built in the district as a memorial. I feel like that's just ridiculous. Like, how do you get away with killing 22 people? That's ridiculous. But when I think about how the fact that these are mostly remote villages that are far away, they're not readily being monitored by police. If you got to go to a police station, you got to walk 2 or 3 miles to the next police station. You were able to get away with 22 murders. And then you go somewhere else. You do 2 separate, mass killing sprees. I'm trying to figure out what was going through your mind at that point. I don't even want to know. I hope you enjoyed this story. Thank you guys. I really appreciate y'all for the support. Leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn my post notifications on if you haven't already. Thanks. Be safe. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.